You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode 125. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? In this episode, we're going to talk about how to embrace negative qualities and how those negative qualities might be the keys that you and your clients need to unlock a more balanced and authentic life. So we are going to talk about 3 qualities that society often tells us to avoid. And those qualities are selfishness, laziness, and impulsivity. Right? So excited to break this down with you. Now, before we dive in, we have a really amazing invitation for you as a listener of the podcast. We are inviting you to join us for our 2-day virtual training that we call Coaching Fundamentals. This is a way for you to get access to the very best coach training out there for free. And in this weekend, we will teach you how to lead a coaching session from start to finish. We're going to lay out all of the foundational coaching skills you need to make a great impact in your client's life. And you'll have the opportunity to also connect with me because I will be leading that weekend and also meet a bunch of our other coaches that are enrolled in Thriving Coach Academy. Now, this will be a lot of fun. And of course, there's limited capacity for this training. So if you are interested, then go ahead and get yourself registered. All you need to do is click the link in the show note or description of this episode. And we would love to have you there. So if you're listening to this, make sure you do that right away because we don't do this very often. We can't guarantee we will do it again. And we'd love to meet you. And no matter if you're just getting started as a coach or if you've already dabbled in coaching for a while, we promise that you're going to have an amazing weekend. It'll be a lot of fun and you will leave a stronger coach. All right, so let's talk about some negative qualities. So how often have you been told growing up that you shouldn't be selfish or you shouldn't be lazy or that it was bad to be impulsive? So I want you to get ready in this episode to rewrite the script on what it really means to be selfish, lazy, and impulsive, because sometimes these can be your secret allies in your path towards your own self-discovery and growth. Now, this is important when you're coaching as well, because you might have clients at times judge themselves for these qualities, and you don't want to jump in the box with them and automatically start to coach them away from these qualities. Instead, you want to look at those situations with more curiosity. So this episode will lay out for you exactly what I mean by that, and realize that these qualities really exist on a spectrum, and they can be both negative but also positive depending on certain situations. So let's talk about a definition for each of these 3 qualities first. First is selfishness. So while selfishness is considered to often be harmful to relationships and communities, a certain level of self-care and self-prioritization is essential, right, to maintain your own well-being. So it's really important to strike a balance between taking care of yourself and also being considerate of others. The other quality we're going to look at in this episode is laziness. Sometimes being lazy can be a sign that a person needs rest and relaxation. So taking breaks and allowing yourself some downtime can actually improve your productivity and your overall mental health. Again, it's about finding that healthy balance between activity and rest. And then finally, impulsiveness. So while rash decisions can lead to negative outcomes, having a bit of spontaneity and willingness to take risks in your life can lead to a lot of exciting opportunities and new experiences. So you want to find that balance between thoughtfulness and really seizing the moment. So let's dive deeper into selfishness first. And I'm going to start with what are the myths people have around selfishness? When is it bad to be selfish? And also, when is it good to be selfish? So let's go into it. So selfishness. One of the myths that people have around it is that it is inherently negative and harmful. Another myth is that selfish people are not capable of empathy. And finally, another common myth is that selfless actions are always better than selfish actions. Okay, so balance is key. Sometimes you need to really prioritize your own needs to make sure you have the capacity to help others effectively over the long term. And also selfish people that exhibit moments of selfishness, I should say, instead of selfish people that exhibit moments of selfishness are still very capable of empathy. So it's very possible to balance your own personal needs and still be considerate of others. So here are some examples of when it's bad to be selfish. One is if you're neglecting your relationships. So if you are consistently prioritizing your own needs over the needs of your loved ones, it could definitely lead to a strain in those relationships. A bad example of selfishness, when is it bad, is if you're ignoring teamwork. So if you're in a collaborative setting, being excessively selfish and just looking out for your own interests can hinder your team's cohesion and overall productivity. Next is if you are refusing to compromise. So if there are situations where it would be necessary to compromise and you're unwilling to meet in the middle and make any concessions, that can certainly lead to conflict. Next is if you are exploiting others. So if you're taking advantage of other people's kindness or their resources for your own personal gain without considering their well-being, then that would be a clear example of negative selfishness. So with that being said, when is it good to be selfish? What does positive selfishness look like? Well, one example is self-care. When you prioritize your own well-being, doing things like with whatever type of exercises you like or ways you relax or hobbies that you enjoy, these are very important for your self-care. It's like that when they tell you on the plane, you need to put your own oxygen mask on first before you help others, right? It's necessary for you to take care of yourself so that way you can be in a good condition to then assist those around you. So self-care is a positive form of selfishness. Another is when you're setting boundaries. So whenever you are saying no to excessive demands or other commitments that could overwhelm you, this is a form of self-preservation. This allows you to maintain a very healthy work-life balance. And when you are in relationship or in a conversation with people that don't understand boundaries or don't respect boundaries, when you have a boundary with them, it is very likely that they will call you selfish or they will see you as selfish. So just know that setting boundaries, though, is a very positive and healthy and necessary form of selfishness. Another positive form of selfishness is when you're having career advancement opportunities. So it's important for you to advocate for your professional growth and negotiate for a reasonable, a fair salary. And also whenever you ask for a raise, right? This could be seen as selfish. Who are you to ask for more money? But it's important for you to be an advocate for yourself in your career and look for ways to advance it. Next is when it comes to pursuing your dreams. So this is a very common limiting belief people have. They think that it's selfish for them to pursue their own goals and dreams and invest time and energy into that. And the truth is it's not negative at all to do that. This is a way in which you want to be selfish in your life. And sometimes I hear a lot of stories about people that have their families and then they have their personal goals and dreams they have, and they feel like it's very selfish for them to focus on their own dreams and goals. And that would be like something they're doing that's going to impact their family negatively. And what I found to be true working with clients through this is that when you pursue your dream, especially if you're a parent, when you pursue your dreams and you put yourself first when it comes to your personal passions, you're setting an example for your family and your kids on what it looks like to have a goal or have something you're very passionate about and boldly go towards that and achieving it. So it's actually a gift for you to pursue your own dreams and make decisions where you are focusing on your own needs and goals. So there are many amazing ways in which that you can be selfish. Now, to really embrace your positive selfishness, it's going to require that you set boundaries. So I want you to think about some of these questions here and see the ways in your life where maybe you need to be a bit more selfish. Maybe that's going to be what you need for your mental health and what you also need to up-level your life. Are there some parts of your life right now where you're struggling to set some healthy boundaries? Because if so, how can you practice selfishness to help you set up some boundaries without feeling guilty about it? Or maybe you have some needs and desires that aren't being honored, right? Where in your life could you practice a bit of selfishness to honor some of the things that you want or need in your life? And in general, just when was the last time that you put yourself first? What would it look like for you to incorporate some more moments in your life where you prioritized yourself without neglecting others? And that's really key. Just because you prioritize yourself doesn't mean you're neglecting the world. So what would it look like for you to prioritize yourself a bit more without neglecting others? Also, there's a big difference between being selfish and also being self-centered, right? So in what ways can you make decisions that honor your self-care and align with your overall well-being? There's a differentiation between being selfish and being self-centered. Just because you are selfish doesn't mean you are self-centered. Again, I think of the metaphor like when you fill up your own cup and you really prioritize yourself, you have so much more to give back to others. So I make a lot of mindfully selfish decisions in my life. I will devote a lot of energy to my own joy and my own relaxation. I made an episode a while back on self-care. And I remember one of our coaches in the academy heard that episode and she went, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe how much you devote to your self-care," because I do. I get like Thai massages every month and facials, and I go on a lot of hikes and I exercise, I do yoga, and I travel extensively throughout the year. I eat mostly organic food. And it's just this, in many ways, people might say there's a lot of selfishness there. And what the thing is, though, I know that the more that I can fill up my own cup, the more I'm able to contribute back to the world and my clients and even this podcast, right? If I am giving from an empty cup, I don't have anything to give. And it just leads to burnout when you do that. So the more you can fill your own cup, then you overflow your generosity to others. By being selfish, I've been able to be more selfless as well, right? By being selfish, I've been able to create lots of amazing results and successes in my life. And as a result of that, been able to give back more to others. So that is an important distinction for you to make. All right, so we talked about selfishness. Check. All right, peeking over my notes here. Let's talk about laziness. So are you lazy? Do you feel bad when you have moments of laziness in your life? Maybe you spend a day on the couch, or you spend even just a few hours, a couple extra hours in bed in the morning or whatever it is, or it's the weekend and you're deciding to not do much and you start having those thoughts of, oh my gosh, I'm being so lazy. I need to get up. I need to do something. So I want to talk about some myths around laziness. One of them is that if you have moments of laziness, it means you don't have ambition or drive. Okay, so laziness sometimes can be a sign that you are exhausted whenever you're being lazy. It could be a sign that you're burning out and you need rest. So it doesn't reflect a person's overall ambition or potential when they have laziness. Also, another myth is that being productive means constantly staying busy. This one is huge, okay? Productivity means that you're achieving your goals efficiently. But in that process, there's going to be periods of rest and reflection. Okay, it's essential that you have periods of rest and reflection. These are the times when you're recharging. I know, like when I go travel for a week or two and I don't work on my business, I know that in that time I'm recharging. I am bringing back to my business a full battery that I can then use to contribute more. So being productive doesn't mean you have to constantly be busy. And then another myth is that all leisure activities are just lazy distractions. Okay, not true at all. When you have different leisurely activities, this is a form of your own self-care and rejuvenation, which is necessary for your well-being and your mental health. So let's talk about when it is bad to be lazy and then when it is good to be lazy. So we're going to distinguish between negative laziness and positive laziness. Okay, it's bad to be lazy when you're missing out on opportunities. So if you are missing chances for your own personal and professional growth, like maybe you're just procrastinating on decisions or tasks or responsibilities, like that's not going to be a positive form of laziness. Next is if you're undermining relationships. So if you are neglecting efforts to engage with your friends or your family due to laziness, this can lead to not just strained relationships, but also some isolation. Next is a significant decline in your productivity. So if you're continuously opting to not take action, and then you end up like missing deadlines, then overall, this could really affect your performance. Now, remember, you don't have to always be productive, but if you just have decided to stop altogether, then that's not going to be a healthy form of laziness. And then is overall stagnation. So if you just start refusing to learn new things, new skills, or have new experiences, this is going to lead to a lack of personal development and feeling stuck overall. And unfortunately, I think this is one that's really common, especially in adulthood for people. It's the stagnation. It's just no longer learning new things or new skills or embracing new experiences and opportunities. So these are all bad forms of laziness. Bad. We don't want these. What are the good ways to be lazy? Good examples of laziness. One is rest and recovery. So when you allow yourself moments of laziness and relaxation, this is going to contribute to not just your mental health, but also your physical health. This is, again, you are recharging. And sometimes I was coaching one of our coaches in the academy recently on the struggle she was having around taking a break with her business. And the reframe that really supported her was realizing that she's just recharging. She's not quitting. She's not stopping. There's nothing wrong with her. It's just she's being mindfully lazy so she can recharge and perform better when needed, when she's fully recharged. Next is another good form of laziness. Another good thing about it is the creativity boost. Okay, so when you take breaks from work, this actually leads to enhanced creativity because your mind gets to wander and explore different ideas. So when I sometimes am being totally lazy or just laying on the couch or whatever, not doing anything, I get these incredible ideas. And it's wild because we might have this idea like we need to be focused and in the zone in order to be our most creative. But sometimes it's about stepping away from those things and having the laziness in our life in order to really tap into our creativity. Next is another time when it's good to be lazy is for avoiding burnout. So whenever you start feeling like you're pushing yourself too hard, this means you need to take a break and allow yourself to just chill. All right, be lazy. Whatever laziness looks like for you, just indulge in that. Don't push yourself too hard to the point of burnout because that's just going to be the lose-lose, the worst case scenario there. And then lastly, it is another time when it's good to be lazy is prioritizing efficiency. So being lazy in the sense of finding the most efficient way to accomplish a task can lead to a very streamlined process and also time-saving techniques. So I really love this because sometimes we think that we have to work really hard in order to accomplish something, but sometimes it's about really working smarter, and sometimes the smarter way is the lazier way. I know that sounds really bizarre, but it's just like sometimes the lazy way is the most efficient way to do something, and it saves us energy. It could streamline a process and also save us a lot of time. So sometimes lazy, even on the surface, it seems lazy because it's simpler, could be more efficient. So it's something to consider. So what are some different questions you can have and ask yourself to really embrace your laziness? Well, one is, how well are you currently prioritizing rest and relaxation in your life? Right? Are there any moments in your life where you feel guilty about taking breaks? And that's a huge sign that you have a relationship with laziness you want to explore. If you do feel guilty or bad about taking breaks and resting, how can you start prioritizing some more rest and relaxation in your life? Another question to consider is, how can you start to identify the signs of burnout and incorporate intentional laziness to start preventing it when it happens. So again, whenever you start noticing burnout, what are those signs that you can identify, and how can you incorporate intentional laziness to prevent it? Another question is, what are the leisure activities that bring you joy and bring you relaxation? And how can you ensure that you are incorporating those into your routine? So what are the things that bring you joy? What are the things that relax you? How can you make sure you're doing it in your day-to-day life? And overall, just how can you reframe those moments of laziness as self-care rather than viewing them negatively and beating yourself up for them? What are some of those positive outcomes that come from you embracing your laziness? All right, so let's finish this episode with one more negative quality that maybe you could benefit from embracing, and that is impulsivity. So maybe you've heard people say things like, oh, you shouldn't be impulsive. It's really bad for you to make decisions, fast decisions, because it means that you lack self-control. Right? There's all these different thoughts people have around it. So firstly, some of the myths. One myth is that impulsive people lack self-control. This is not true at all. It doesn't necessarily mean that you lack self-control if you are impulsive. That means impulsive meaning like you're just able to make a fast decision. Another myth is if you think that all impulsive decisions lead to negative outcomes. This is really not true. A lot of times an impulsive decision can lead to very positive outcomes. It can lead to creativity. They can lead to spontaneous enjoyment. And they could also lead to a lot of fun, right? Moments when you are spontaneous. And then there's also an idea or myth that impulsive people are just so unpredictable. So no, not all impulsive individuals behave erratically. There's a lot of people who have controlled impulsivity in specific situations. And that might be a new term for you to try on. Like, what would it look like to have controlled impulsivity? So let's talk about when it's bad to be impulsive and when it's good to be impulsive. When is it bad? Firstly, when you're making a very rash decision. So this means you're not considering the consequences of a decision and not really planning it out. You're just really making it haphazardly. Another one is if you are hurting relationships. So if you are not really considering some of the feelings of others, and it could lead to a lot of misunderstanding or conflict, then also that might be something to look at a little bit more before you make the decision. And then finally, safety risks. So if there are certain safety precautions that come with engaging in certain impulsive behaviors, like something like reckless driving or risky physical activities that could lead to accidents and injuries, then of course this is going to be a bad time to be impulsive if your actual physical safety is at risk. But when is it good to be impulsive? Well, one is spontaneity. This is when you are embracing impulsive actions in certain situations that can actually lead you to exciting and memorable experiences. Like, for example, a spontaneous trip or having a spontaneous adventure. There might be that part of your brain that goes, wait, what's wrong with you? You're being so impulsive. You need to think this through. But spontaneity is sometimes what creates the most fulfillment and joy in life. So spontaneity is when it is a time when it's good to be impulsive, knowing that I'm being spontaneous right now. Another is creativity. So creativity often comes very in the moment. And when you allow yourself to act on a sudden burst of inspiration, and that can lead to new ideas and new solutions to problems. A lot of times I've had very impulsive ideas for this podcast and for Thriving Coach Academy. And if I shut down those ideas with, oh, wait, I should think that out more, or I shouldn't be so quick to take action on this, then it would have prevented a lot of great podcast episodes and also resources from getting out into our community and for our coaches. So it's good to be impulsive when it's allowing you to expand your creativity. Another time when it's good to be impulsive is when it breaks you out of your routine. So when we get stuck in a routine, we often stagnate and we don't get much from our life when we're just doing the same thing and it feels like we're going through the motions. So being impulsive helps you break a routine, and that'll allow you to discover some new interests or maybe meet new people or get out of a monotonous lifestyle, right? If you decide to try something new or put yourself in a new social group or just do something different with your day that goes out of your typical day-to-day life, this is an amazing way for you to be impulsive. And then finally, seizing the moment. So whenever you have an impulse where really time is of the essence for you to take advantage of that opportunity that's in front of you, then this can really lead to amazing impacts in your life. And you've got to tell yourself that you're really seizing the moment. So here are some questions to consider. You can reflect on these yourself. You can also share these with your clients if you find that they are shutting down their impulsivity in a way that maybe it might serve them to lean into it. One is reflecting on, when was the last time that you embraced an impulsive decision that brought you a lot of joy? When was the last time you embraced an impulsive decision that brought you joy? And then how can you intentionally create opportunities for positive impulsive experiences? Next, when it comes to your creativity, in what areas of your life can embracing impulsivity lead to greater creativity and innovation, right? In what areas of your life can embracing impulsivity lead to greater creativity and innovation? Okay, and next is to reflect on a past impulsive decision that you made. What did you learn from that decision? What did you learn from a past impulsive decision that you made? And how could you start applying that to future decisions so that way you can be both impulsive but also planned at the same time? Because if you don't really embrace your impulsivity at times, then you end up overthinking and overanalyzing, which is what we talked all about in the previous episode of this podcast. So in summary, it is so important in your life to really balance out your selfishness and your laziness and your impulsivity, and not just write these three qualities off as automatically negative. So anything that feels selfish, lazy, or impulsive is automatically bad and therefore should be avoided. Because as we've realized in this episode, when you rewrite what it means to be selfish, lazy, and impulsive, you really uncover ways for you to embrace what used to be just bad to things that could actually be remarkable for you in your life. So how could you embrace selfishness right now? How would it serve you to be selfish right now in your life? How would it serve you to be lazy right now in your life right now? Maybe get some rest and relaxation that you deserve. And then how would it serve you to be spontaneous and impulsive? So maybe taking on an opportunity or making some kind of decision that will bring you spontaneous joy or excitement. What would it look like for you to embrace that inner, that part of you that is impulsive? All right, that's what I got in this episode. As a reminder, join us for our Coaching Fundamentals weekend. Go in the link in the description and the show notes of this episode for details on how to register. We will see you there. As always, thanks for listening to this episode. I'm going to leave this episode with a clip for one of our students inside the academy so you can hear their story and be inspired by their journey in coaching and also learn from their advice. Enjoy their story, and I'll see you in the next episode.
My name is Tess Witten-Marsh, and I'm a mom of two boys, and I live in the Pacific Northwest. And I was drawn to coaching actually many years ago, about 5 years ago, because I found that in the work that I was doing, I was mentoring people, I was cheering them on, I was supporting them through difficult decisions. I think that one of the biggest setbacks for me had been that I had been living a life where I thought, well, when I make this much money and I can fully provide for my family, then I'll pursue what is really important to me, what I really feel like my purpose is. And so I was actually in quite a position this fall where I wasn't fully providing for my family. I had been struggling a little bit with some mental health, and I really was just in a position where I felt like I've got to jump all in. I've got to stop hesitating and playing small, and I have to really listen to what's brewing inside of me. I think the only hesitation I had was just really kind of having the internal conversation with myself around, is this the time? Can I make this work? Is this the right thing? So I had a lot of those like initial thoughts and doubts, but what really felt like in my soul and in my gut and in my heart was so much bigger than all of those doubts. Once I got into that first module, once I was surrounded by other coaches who were working through their own doubts and their own fears and really honoring that I was with a group of people who were on the same discovery as I am, who had similar hesitations, who are willing to put in the work. I felt really comfortable. I felt really engulfed in the process of showing up fully, playing big, impacting the lives of others, serving others. And I felt really surrounded by community. But once module 1 was over, I mean, even within like 15, 20 minutes of module 1, the sense of community and collaboration was just really profound. There's something to be said about learning the skills of coaching, but the most profound experience for me has been actually being coached through the hesitations that I have, the doubts that I have, things that are bigger than me and my coaching business, relationship with parents, relationship with partners. All of these pieces that I'm getting coached on are then influencing how I'm showing up as a coach, how I'm showing up in pursuing my business. Every chance that I get to just have support and moving forward, it's been phenomenal. Being in a position where I put off pursuing coaching for so long, the biggest win that I take away from my experience so far is just the confidence that I'm building in. It's kind of like backing up this gut feeling that I've had for 5 years that I should be a coach, or that I can show up in the world in a bigger way. It feels inevitable that myself and the other students that I've come so close to are going to excel in whatever path they choose. For me, I know and have known for so long that my journey with coaching isn't just about one-on-one coaching. It's about providing content, workshops, webinars, programs, women's retreats, like the list goes on. And I really feel like what I'm learning in the academy and the support that I'm getting, it aligns with that. Frank and the instructors are asking us and almost insisting in a way that we play full out, that we dream bigger, that we think bigger. It's like exponential possibility. So for me, I appreciate that because I'm a big vision person and I am a big thinker. And so to be supported in that and to not have this bigger picture that I have for myself be shut down and say, well, oh, you're a brand new coach, or wait a few years, or it'll take time. Like, no one is saying that. If anything, they're saying, yes, go big, do the thing, create the program. Most programs are going to give you the tools and the basics and then say, good luck. And that is not what we're experiencing in the academy. It's more than I could have ever expected from the sense of building a business and pursuing the business of coaching. And I've built businesses before. I know how to do all the steps, but this is incredibly supportive towards us actually being influential in the world of coaching. If you are considering enrolling in the academy, I would hands down suggest that you take action. The academy has changed my entire perspective on what coaching is, how this can become a successful business and opportunity for me, how this can be the vehicle to living the life and pursuing other dreams that I have as a mom and a partner and a community member. And what you will receive from the academy will blow your mind and will set you up for complete success. The continuing growth and progress and intention behind the content that is given to the students, I don't think you can find that anywhere else. If you know deep down inside that you are put on this earth to serve others and to show up fully, get into the program and see for yourself how Thriving Coach Academy can completely change your perspective and your life.
Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coach's secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.